Hello and welcome to the Thane Hines Energy Inc. video demonstration. This video is being prepared for our friends at the National Research Council of Canada who validated our innovation in 2009 when we were developing the backing theory in the Power Lab at the University of Ottawa. And then again in 2013 when we were integrating the technology into an electric scooter for Hero Electric of India when we doubled the scooter's driving range. So what we're presenting here today is Faraday generator and Faraday motor operation. Basically since 1822 and 1834, and the Hines ReGenX generator and ReGenX motor innovations since 2007. The Hines ReGenX generator and ReGenX motor innovations make all existing Faraday generators and motors obsolete. And our intellectual property is the ReGenX generator coil, which performs positive work at infinite efficiency when generating electricity, and positive work at infinite efficiency when operating as an electric motor. So starting in 2026, we will be manufacturing about 35 billion of these coils over the next 10 years at our manufacturing facility, hopefully in Armpror, Ontario. And the generated revenue from the sale of our ReGenX coils will provide about between 10 and 13 trillion dollars worth of revenue for the Canadian economy. So in this demonstration, I'm going to go over the first law of thermodynamics, which governs Faraday generator operation, and the first law of thermodynamics that governs ReGenX generator and ReGenX Quantum Motor operation. I'll also be introducing Oersted's law of creation of energy, which was discovered by Hans Christian Oersted at the University of Copenhagen in 1820. Oersted discovered the law of creation of electromagnetic field energy, but I formulated it, and I'll be presenting that as well. And I will be introducing the explanation of what a perpetual motion machine of the first kind is, and then I'll be giving a demonstration of the basically a Tesla induction motor, and which operates according to the first law of thermodynamics, and a ReGenX generator slash ReGenX Quantum Motor, which operates according to the Oersted-Hines first law of thermodynamics. So with regards to Faraday motors or Faraday generators, how the first law of thermodynamics applies in those systems is the change in energy, the increase in kinetic energy, for example, is equal to the energy that's added to the system, the energy that's added to the system that is converted to heat, minus the work performed. And what you're going to see when I demonstrate the ReGenX generator and ReGenX Quantum Motor is that the change in energy, the increase in the kinetic energy of the system, is equal to the heat, or the energy and the heat subtracted from the system plus the work performed. So what Mayer's first law of thermodynamics for Faraday generators basically says the more work you perform, the more energy you need, and the more heat you generate inside your Faraday motor. The Oersted-Hines new first law of thermodynamics for electrodynamic systems says that the more work you do, the less input energy is required and the less heat is being generated in the system. So all Faraday generators basically perform negative work, and they reduce the kinetic energy of the system. All Hines ReGenX generators and ReGenX Quantum Motors perform positive work, and they increase the kinetic energy of the system. So when you'll see the ReGenX generator basically charging the battery that's in the system, the speed of the system will go up, and the input power to the prime mover will go down, which means that the heat in the prime mover is also going down. So we have to explain what perpetual motion machines of the first kind actually are, because just about everybody has an idea of what they think perpetual motion means, but they actually don't. So there's actually three types of perpetual motion machines, and the one that we'll be talking about today is perpetual motion machine of the first kind. So any perpetual motion machine of the first kind, such as a Faraday generator, performs negative work at infinite efficiency with internally created electromagnetic field energy according to Lenz's law of induction and Oersted's work energy principle. So until today, basically, the scientific community has been saying that negative work can be performed in a Faraday generator without energy. And that's just basically not true. It's certainly not true according to Joule's work energy principle, which states that all work requires energy. And in the case of all Faraday generators on the road to, or in every internal combustion engine vehicle, in every EV, or generating electricity, they are all performing negative work with created electromagnetic field energy at infinite efficiency, and they're all perpetual motion machines of the first kind. The difference between a Faraday generator perpetual motion machine of the first kind and a Hines ReGenX generator perpetual motion machine of the first kind is the Hines ReGenX generator performs positive work with created and time-delayed electromagnetic field energy. And that's the differential. And at the end of this video, on the end screen, there will be links to the basically the demonstration for the ReGenX generator and the load current delay sine wave prototype, and the electric motorcycle that has the technology integrated into it. So the ReGenX generator perpetual motion machine of the first kind performs positive work at infinite efficiency with created and time-delayed electromagnetic field energy according to Hines's law of induction and Oersted's law of creation of energy. So what does Oersted's law of creation of energy actually say? So Oersted's law of creation of energy Electromagnetic field energy is created at the subatomic quantum electron level in every current-bearing wire via electron fission and electron fusion when an electromotive force or voltage is applied to the inductor or induced in the wire according to Faraday's law of induction. So an electromotive force should actually be called an electron motive force, and that's the voltage that is induced in a generator. And when the voltage is induced in the generator in a current carrying conductor in a closed circuit, electrons are forced to move through the conductors. Electron fission, so loose electrons are forced out of their valence orbits and they cascade within the wire as electric current. When the unstable electrons return back down to their valence orbits via electron fusion, they emit photons, which create and constitute the photon energy electromagnetic field energy around the current-bearing wire. So when the electrons are basically forced out of their valence orbits, that's electron fission. They cascade in the wire as electric current. When the electrons return back down to their original valence orbit, they emit photons via electron fusion. And the created electromagnetic field photon energy has been performing positive work in every Faraday motor at infinite efficiency since 1822, and negative work at infinite efficiency in every Faraday generator since 1834, and positive work in every Heinz ReGenX generator motor at infinite efficiency since 2007. So this is the very definition of perpetual motion machine of the first kind operation. You can either have negative work that's being performed at infinite efficiency with no external energy being added to the system. That's a Faraday generator. Or you can have positive work that's being performed with no external energy being added to the system. That is a Heinz ReGenX generator and ReGenX Quantum Motor. And you're going to see that in a second here. So Lenz's law of induction of 1834 and Heinz's law of induction of 2007, where negative and positive work are performed at infinite efficiency with created electromagnetic field energy. In all Oersted, Faraday, Tesla, and Heinz perpetual motion machines of the first kind since 1820, 1822, 1834, and 2007. So when Hans Christian Oersted caused a compass needle's kinetic energy to increase by harnessing created electromagnetic field energy, he was performing positive work on the compass needle at infinite efficiency. Hans Christian Oersted built the first perpetual motion machine of the first kind in 1820. Michael Faraday followed in 1822 and 1834, and Thane Heinz Energy Inc. built the fourth perpetual motion machine of the first kind in 2007. So a perpetual motion machine, again, is any machine that has a capacity to perform either positive or negative work with zero external energy being added to it, aka every Oersted, Faraday, Tesla, Heinz motors since 1820, and every Faraday generator and Heinz generator since 1834 and 2007. So you may be surprised to learn that every internal combustion on the road today and every generator in every EV on the road today are all employing they're all employing Faraday generator perpetual motion machines of the first kind. They are all performing negative work at infinite efficiency with created electromagnetic field energy according to Oersted's law of creation of energy and Oersted's first law of thermodynamics. So Lenz's law of induction basically states that, or it's explained as negative work that is performed at infinite efficiency with created electromagnetic field energy in every Faraday generator's current-bearing wire, aka perpetual motion machine of the first kind. So if we look at Faraday's law, the minus sign in front of Faraday's law denotes the negative work that's being performed by the created electromagnetic field energy at infinite efficiency. So Lenz's law is stated as when an electric current is induced in a conductor by a changing magnetic field, the created electromagnetic field energy will perform negative work and oppose the changing magnetic field, reduce its kinetic energy, in other words. Heinz's law of induction introduces a positive sign into Faraday's law, which denotes that positive work is being performed with created electromagnetic field energy. And so Heinz's law of induction states when a time-delayed electric current is induced in a conductor, the created and time-delayed electromagnetic field energy will perform positive work and will assist the changing magnetic field. It will increase its kinetic energy, in other words. Okay, so what I'm going to do is readjust the camera a little bit here so that okay. All right, so again, this is a Tesla induction motor. It operates according to Mayer's first law of thermodynamics, which means that in order to increase its kinetic energy or to change its energy, the delta E, we have to add more input energy to the motor, which gets converted to heat inside the motor, and the motor's kinetic energy increases. The ReGenX generator, on the other hand, and the ReGenX Quantum Motor, on the other hand, which you will be able to observe by viewing the power consumption of the prime mover when the ReGenX generator is generating power to the battery, which is when the switches will be in this direction. It will increase the kinetic energy of the system while simultaneously reducing the energy consumption of the prime mover. So the ReGenX generator generates electricity at infinite efficiency, and it performs positive work simultaneously at infinite efficiency. The ReGenX Quantum Motor, on the other hand, when it's engaged, when the switches are in this direction, it performs the maximum amount of positive work, system kinetic energy increase, with not only with zero additional energy being provided to the prime mover, but an increased reduction in the input energy going to the prime mover. So it's a complete reversal of the first law of thermodynamics, and it introduces the new first law of thermodynamics for ReGenX electrodynamic systems. So I'll fire up the system, and just to give you a little demonstration, on no load it's relatively easy to turn the generator, and when a ReGenX coil is engaged at low frequency, the ReGenX generator produces a counter-electromagnetic torque just like a Faraday generator. However, when it's operated above the critical minimum frequency for the ReGenX coil, it performs positive work. It increases the kinetic energy of the system. And it does that at infinite efficiency. So the ReGenX generator and motor harnesses created and time-delayed electromagnetic field energy in order to perform electricity generation at infinite efficiency and electric motor operation at infinite efficiency. Okay, so let's fire it up. This is the battery voltage of the battery we have in the back. This will be the current from the generator going to the battery.